Good Wednesday morning, Mount Olive family, friends of Mount Olive Church. Hope everybody's having a good week so far this week. Matthew Hubbard here to bring you a quick devotion this Wednesday morning on Pastor's Sermon on Mother's Day Sunday, Faith in the Face of a Giant. Really good message, really good testimonies that were given. I appreciate everyone's obedience in sharing what the Lord had done for them and gave them. But one of the key scriptures from the sermon, Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And during that message, I thought a lot about my own faith. When I'm in the face of a giant, when I'm struggling with my faith, and Mark chapter 9 really helps me when I'm in that moment of struggling with faith. And Mark chapter 9, Jesus has the moment on the Mount of Transfiguration, glorious moment that he had there, and then when he descends into the valley from the mountain, he's got this multitude waiting on him, and this father and son are waiting to get to Jesus. And as a father, I can so relate to the rawness of this father's encounter with Jesus. Just this full of emotion, hopelessness that he's going through with his son, and he goes to tell Jesus, what's going on with his son, that he's possessed by this demon that makes the boy gnash his teeth, cast him into the fire, into the waters, tries to kill him. He's a hurting father. He's struggling, and in verse 22 here he says, "But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help us." He may have not, fully understood who Jesus was or what he was here for, but he knew enough to know, or had heard enough to know of the fatherly heart that Christ had. He says, "Have compassion on us and help us." And Jesus said unto him, "If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth." And I love the Father's response here, because it's something that I've prayed out many times, cried out many times when I am in the face of a giant, that I say I've gave it to the Lord for him to take it. But there's a little bit of human flesh in me that thinks that I should be able to do it. I should be able to fix something. And the Father says, "And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe, help thou my unbelief." And you look at the 3 A's of faith that Pastor gave us on Sunday: agree, attitude, and action. This father agreed. He knew enough about Jesus. He knew that he had to get him, had to get his son to him. He had tried to take him to the disciples, but they couldn't cast him out. And so he knew that he had to get his son to Jesus. Attitude, look at his attitude here. Lord, I believe, help thou my unbelief. And it's okay to have that attitude, to pray those prayers to God, to increase our faith, to help us overcome our unbelief. Even the disciples in Luke, asked Jesus, say, "Hey, increase our faith, help us believe more." And then you look at action. He knew he had to get to Jesus, no matter what. It doesn't say what the multitude was, how big a crowd that was, but he had the right action. He took, he got his son to Jesus, where he knew he could be healed, and so when you're in the face of a giant, think of these 3 A's of faith: agree, attitude, and action. Agree, that no matter what, God's going to get the glory, that he is good, no matter what. That it's in His hands. An attitude, give it to Him. Stay upbeat, stay in praise and worship. Just the attitude of surrender to the Father. That is just trust that giant in His hands, and then action. The disciples after this moment, they asked Jesus, why couldn't we cast that demon out? And He said unto them, this kind can come forth by nothing but by prayer and fasting. So maybe that's the action step you have to take when you're in the face of that giant. When that is a part of faith to go into prayer and fasting, knowing that in prayer and fasting that God sees us, He hears us, that we are giving it to Him. So appreciate Pastor giving us those 3 A's of faith. Those are really good, and really appreciate those. Definitely got that wrote everywhere around around my notes from Sunday. But I hope you guys have a good week this week, and hope to see you in church real soon.